Hi, welcome class. I wanted to give you just a brief video introduction to Project 2 to hopefully help clarify things. So first, let me just start with this. Your first projects were awesome. Everybody did really a great job. It's the highest scores I've given in any of the classes I've done to date. In fact, the first time I've given a perfect score to a group. So congratulations, well done. They were so good because of two reasons. First, you worked well together as teams. And I appreciate that. I know the teams appreciate that. So thank you for working so well as a team. And secondly, it's because you followed instructions and you used the example and followed the example. So if you do that with Project 2, you guys are going to be in great shape. So let's move on to Project 2. There's really two facets to this. First, I want to talk about logistics, and then secondly, I want to talk about content. I provided all the links and announcements already. There's explanation in there already, so you should be well on your way. But first, logistics. Because this is considered a human use study, you have to work through Dr. Sid Palmer's office in order to get these approved. So I have included a link to that, and it will look like this. So you're going to fill this out as you go through it, and there's a sample that's included in the links, but this is a blank one. You go through and tell what the project is. Please don't ask for more than 300. In fact, you need 300 emails to send us to, because you're only going to get back a small fraction of that. And you're going to base your Project 2 on that small fraction. If you ask for more than 300, that's going to delay this, and you don't want to do that. So that's going to be the first step. Ideally, you should have your questionnaire put together either later this week or very early next week, and then sent off to Dr. Sid Palmer, or this sent off to Dr. Sid Palmer's office for approval and your receipt of those emails that he'll provide for you, and then you'll send those out. So that's the first step in doing this, is to get that approval and then get that sent out, because this is due in week 10, and you're going to want to have this really sent out by early next week so that you can have that week to week and a half in order to get, one, your responses back, and then two, to be able to collate that data. Number two, this survey is done through Qualtrics, so you're going to be using that. Somebody on your team should be designated as the Qualtrics expert. There's a couple of resources on the links that I provided here. One is tips. In fact, I have that down here if I can get to it. Right. Best laid plans. I had it available. Anyway, there's a PDF tips sheet for you. Secondly is this. One of our other instructors, Todd Schroeder, who teaches the same course but a different section, has included a video preview of what he uses for Qualtrics. And he's head of marketing for a credit union here in Utah, and he uses Qualtrics all the time. In fact, he's been using it for 8 or 9 years or so. And so he's gone through and put this video together. I put a link in there for you. This is what the first part of it looks like that you'll be able to see. And really good tips, and it's very easy to use. So that's what you'll use, is Qualtrics, to put your survey together. Now, let's talk a little bit about content. So I've provided at least 2 examples of the content that you're going to want to have in there. And let me go through just this as an example. This happened to be a class that I had 2 semesters ago that did it on Netflix. The 2 examples in here are good. They weren't perfect, but they were good. And if you follow this example, you'll do well on your Project 2. Keep in mind that this is their format that they've had. It's good format. It's not necessarily the best format, but keep in mind that as you put these projects together, you're acting as the product manager for whatever product you're doing, whether it's JCPenney's, Quiznos, or Yahoo. And you're trying to convince me to invest money for you to do the marketing projects that you want to do with this. And so you really want to sell this, if you will, and formatting goes a long way towards doing this. I'm a marketing guy by trade, so naturally I like colors, I like charts, I like those kind of things, so make sure you have those in there. But just a brief deal on this. So as I scroll through this, this table of contents contains what you need to have addressed in your project. So make sure you have each one of these things as you go through it, each section. I'm not going to go through each one in detail, but I'm going to highlight a couple of things. Give me an intro. Tell me a little bit about your product and or your project that you have that you're working on. Let me say a word about executive summary. In many of the reports that I got on the first project, the executive summary was just really pretty brief. But that's missing the mark on what an executive summary is. The executive summary should be a synopsis of what I'm going to find in the report. So tell me what you're doing, tell me what you found, just sort of the top line stuff, so that if I had just to read one thing and I could know what was going to contain in that report, that's what that executive summary does. So make sure you do that with this one. And then you're going to do your insights, what you found out about this. As we get to the graphs, that's the next part I want to talk a little bit about. You're going to notice that in these graphs, let me pull up here. All right. So here we're getting to the graphs and the things that they found out. So you're going to show the graph, but add some blurbage to it. What does this mean? Why did you include this question? What we're trying to get at? Here's the purpose of this. With Project 1, you really had a blank slate. You had in-depth interviews that you had with people that you were talking to about your product or your service, and from that you gleaned, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 different positioning ideas. Project 2 is to take those ideas that you have. They're really just sort of feelings. They're not really set in concrete yet, and you're trying to tease those out to see if those really are the hot buttons for your customers, because that leads to Project 3, in which you're then creating your messaging for them. So this is really an opportunity for you to find out whether those feelings or those inclinations you had about the positioning are the right areas. And so that's what you're using this Project 2 to kind of tease out and really kind of lock into. So you'll see that they've written something about each one of these things, and then they include a little write-up or a little dialogue about that. So include those in your write-up as you do it. I think that's about it. So I just want to make sure that you knew that there were examples, follow the examples there, make sure your formatting is on point. I like it to look nice, it needs to read well, it needs to be logical in the flow, and you're really trying to sell me on, here's what we found, this is why we think this is important, here's our targets, and here we think is the right messaging for that. And that's going to lead them to Project 3, where you actually create that messaging. I'm available this week, so if you need additional guidance, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Cell phone's the best. Texting is great. Emails work. I get it right from my phone, so usually I'll see it right away, and then I try to respond right away. I can't always get back because I've got meetings and other things, but I will try my best to try to respond as quickly to you so I don't hold you up. If there's any questions, please let me know. Let me review my notes real quick just to make sure I hit everything I wanted to. I think I did. Okay. If there's any questions, please reach out to me right away and go from there. Thanks, and good luck. Again, you did great on your Project 1. I'm really excited. It really set you up well for your Project 2, and I'm excited to see what those look like.